In shadows deep, where legends creep, the tale is softly told of skinwalkers dark and dread, whose hearts have long grown cold. From Navajo's most ancient lore, their cursed form takes hold. The Hatali, once pure and bright, with herbs and whispered prayer, healed the sick, gave life and light, with wisdom rare and fair. Yet in the dark, a darker art began to fester there. For where the sacred flame did burn, a shadow soon would fall, and those who once could heal the soul now heard a darker call. To wield a power, vast and grim, beyond both life and thrall. Their hearts grew twisted in desire as greed began to bloom. They sought to conquer death itself, to pierce the sacred gloom. And in their lust, the skinwalker rose, an omen of dark doom. To walk the path of endless night, the price they had to pay. A murder cold, a kin betrayed, their soul cast far away. And thus the bond to mortal flesh forever would decay. With twisted rites, forbidden dark, they shed their human skin, and in its place the form of beasts they donned to hunt again. A wolf, an owl, a coyote's howl, harbingers of sin. In shapes of beasts they stalk the night, unseen by mortal eye. Yet in their wake the air grows cold and death is ever nigh. For once a healer, now a fiend beneath a moonlit sky. But cursed are they, these shadowed ones, to live in endless spite. No longer men, but creatures born of malice and of blight. And so they roam in darkness fed, forever fearing light. In Navajo belief, the world does spin, a fragile dance of light and shade, where harmony and chaos reign and every soul is weighed. Yet when the balance tips awry, a darker price is paid. The skinwalker, dread in form, defies this ancient law. Once healers kind, now creatures vile, they fill the heart with awe. A breach upon the sacred earth, a beast with sharpened claw. Their steps do taint the very ground where once pure life did bloom. The crops now wither in the soil, the fields beset by doom. And in the night, a whispered fear sweeps softly through the room. No mere monster, these shadows born of broken vows and lies. They twist the spirit, break the bond where trust in honour lies. For they have turned from sacred path to feast on anguished cries. Their souls, once bright with healing arts, now feed on fear and woe. Their very presence chills the air and sets the heart aglow. With terror deep as silence creeps where winds of sorrow blow. For as they stalk the trembling earth, they hunger for despair. Not just the flesh of mortal kin, but dread that haunts the air. The skinwalker thrives on fear itself, its eyes a wicked stare. Thus, in their fall, they show the cost of turning from the light, of breaking with tradition's call and shunning what is right. They wander lost, in darkness bound, forever fearing sight. Though skinwalkers shift with fearsome grace, from beast to man and back, their hunger lies not in the flesh, nor in the crimson track, but in the soul they feast upon, a spiritual attack. In Navajo's darkened lore, these creatures stalk the mind, not merely hunters of the flesh, but seekers of a kind, of life's own essence, drawn from fear, the pain they leave behind. For they, like vampires of the night, thrive not on blood alone, but on the dread, the whispered cries, the fear, the muffled groan, to drain the victim's strength and will until the heart is stone. Their prey, though walking still in form, is hollowed from within, their very spirit torn apart, consumed by subtle sin, and all that's left, a haunted soul, where once the light had been. The air grows thick, the shadows stretch before they do appear. A presence foul that coils tight and fills the heart with fear. For even in the quiet night, their evil draws too near. Survivors tell of icy hands that chill the very core, a haunting weight upon the soul that lingers evermore. A dread that stays within the heart, long after death's own door. For skinwalkers, cursed and cruel, are bound to endless night, not for the taste of mortal flesh, but for the fading light. of fear and pain that they consume in shadows ever bright. Upon the edge of desert vast, where mountains kiss the sky, a Navajo family dwelt beneath the moon's cold eye. 'Twas there the scratching first began, as winds did softly sigh. The windows trembled in the dark, with footsteps pacing near. The father, brave, stepped out to see what stirred the midnight air. 2 glowing eyes, a coyote grim, fixed in a soulless stare. Yet larger still and darker too, the creature seemed to fade, a fleeting glimpse, then vanished fast into the endless shade. But in its wake a dread remained, as if a curse was laid. The livestock fell one by one as sickness filled the home. Their health did wane, a weight unknown as if by dark winds blown. A sense that something watched them still wherever they might roam. At last they sought the medicine man, with chants both old and deep. He cleansed their land with sacred fire, where evil could not creep. And so the haunting ceased its tread, allowing them to sleep. No marks were left upon the ground, no tracks for eyes to see, but in their hearts the fear remained of what could surely be. For skinwalkers unseen still lurk, awaiting silently. The tales are warnings dire and grim for those who walk alone, of creatures born from broken vows, with hearts as cold as stone, forever watching ever near, in shadows they are known. For such a foe, no walls suffice, no gates of iron strong. It is a battle of the soul where spirits clash with song, and medicine men with whispered rites have fought this evil long. With corn pollen pure and blessed, they trace a sacred line. Around the home they scatter it, a barrier divine. No skinwalker may cross its path, where holy powers shine. The smoke of sage in curling threads drives darkness from the air. It cleanses all where shadows creep, dispelling every snare. The ancient chants in rhythmic hum invoke a stronger care. For holy people's spirits bright protect the ones who pray. Their power holds the forces dark and keeps the fiend at bay. Yet should a curse be laid in spite, there's one more price to pay. The night chant calls the spirits near for many nights and days, a healing rite to mend the wound and light the darkened ways. For when the skinwalker strikes, it taints the earth in grays. Yet those who walk with reverence deep in nature's gentle grace shall find the holy people's shield to guard their heart and place. But the skinwalker cursed in night shall never find that space. Their endless hunger burns within, for power they do crave, and thus in shadows evermore their souls shall find no save. Wandering lost in black and dark, they dig their own cold grave.